A new month means a new budget. How did I do with keeping on track in week one? Stay with me and I'll tell you all about it. Welcome back to Ready Budget Go. My name is Drew, and on this channel, we talk about cash budgeting, saving money, and achieving our financial goals. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please consider subscribing, hitting the like button, and leaving a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Today, what I'm doing is going through my December budget and writing in all the transactions that have come in the first week. For me, my weeks start on a Friday, so December started on December 6th. Of course, there were transactions that came in before that, so I'm catching up on those now. Now what I'm doing is I'm turning over to my monthly cash flow tracker, and this is basically like a check register for my checking account. I'm writing in the starting balance, which if you saw my November videos, you'll remember, or you would know that that was the ending balance in November. So now what I'm doing is I am writing down a withdrawal on the wrong side of the ledger, and I'll realize it here in a little bit and get out the whiteout. This was something that comes out twice a month, a deposit to my savings account for my emergency fund. So I'm thinking, well, it's a deposit, but I'm looking at it from my checking account. So from a checking account perspective, it's a withdrawal. So I messed that up, and now I'm having to go back and use the whiteout to correct it. So I do this just to make sure that I'm staying up on what's going on with my checking account. A typical checking account register just doesn't do it for me. The lines are too small. I need to write bigger. So I use this tracker that I developed to just do it on a monthly basis. I don't have all that many transactions through my checking account just because I don't tend to use my debit card except to pull out my weekly cash allowance. So everything else is either a credit card payment or it's transferred to a savings account or things like that. So speaking of credit card payments, now what I'm doing is I'm recording all of the ones that I made at the start of the month. And I do use credit cards for the rewards and for the security and for the convenience. For me, the benefits outweigh the potential pitfalls. Because I'm good about tracking my spending and making sure that I stay on top of my balances, I don't carry any debt. So anything that I put on a credit card gets paid off in the same month, usually before the bill even comes. So I'm just recording all of these different cards. Now, the reason why I have so many different cards is because each card gives me a different benefit. Some of them give me cash back in certain categories, others build reward points, so on. If you saw my November videos, then you will remember that one of the credit cards I had to pay the annual fee on, and that was quite a substantial amount. But that credit card now I have used to book a hotel for an upcoming vacation, and I'm paying $0 out of pocket. So despite the fact that the annual fee was something like $600, the value that I'm getting out of it means that I'm actually already ahead for the year. And that's before you factor in any of the other benefits. So for me, I make it work for me. It's worthwhile. I would be taking the vacation regardless, but this way I don't have to pay for it. I pay for it with the rewards that I've earned from spending that I'm doing anyway. So that sticky note that was on there was because I forgot to record a deposit from the last month, which should have gone into my savings account. So now I've made sure that I've recorded it and I've made the withdrawal to the savings account or the transfer to the savings account. So now I can get rid of the sticky note. This here is my monthly expense tracker. So this is where I record all of the transactions that I put onto a credit card each month. These aren't my bills. Those are only recorded in the monthly budget overview tracker. These are weekly expenses that go onto a credit card. So this first one that I'm recording here is for a clothing store, and I actually made this purchase on Black Friday, but the charge didn't hit my credit card for a full week because it's something that I had shipped to me and it was on back order. So now that it is shipped to me, I am recording it here as a transaction in December. I had budgeted for Christmas spending in December, so that's probably where this will come out of, from that stockpile. All of the other transactions here that I'm recording now are mostly for food. groceries, eating out, coffee, things like that. So that is the bulk of my weekly spending on credit cards is for food. This DoorDash order is actually a grocery order. I had groceries delivered to me because one of the grocery stores was giving 30% off everything if you spent $50. And I took full advantage. I spent just about $100 to get the full maximum discount of 30, and then there was a tip and fees and whatnot. So it came out to $81. And that was more than enough for more than a week of groceries. So it worked out great. So this transaction that I'm recording now is a $29 charge for a software subscription. This is 1 month only. This is something that I feel I need in my professional life, but it's not for my business, so it's coming out of personal expenses. If it weren't for that transaction, I would have come in just under budget. It would have been, I guess, the perfect week. But because I hadn't planned for it, I'm going to have to figure out where to get that money. I probably will just cash flow it, take it out of the budget buffer or remainder that I leave for myself. It's not one that I plan on renewing. It may come to that I need it for another month, another 2 months, what have you. But for now, I'm just planning on just the 1 month. So leaving it in here as an expense rather than turning it into a bill. More food transactions. This one for Starbucks that's coming up here. This was just this morning, and I used the wrong credit card. One of the credit cards that I have gives me a $25 food allowance or restaurant allowance every week, or not an allowance, but like a rebate every week. And I had used the wrong credit card, so now I get to record it as an expense. But it's not the end of the world. I still have the $25 credit. I'm sure I will go to another restaurant this month and I will use it then. So now what I'm doing is I'm recording all the cash that I spent for the week. I had $45 left, and so I'm doing the mental math right now to try to figure out that yes, I spent $55 and recording that. And now what I'm going to do is take out some highlighters so that I can color code these transactions. But first, I'm going to add up the total for the amounts that I spent this week. I'm taking out 2 highlighters because that first transaction is not a weekly expense. It's going into my Christmas stockpile. This is the same color that I used last month for Black Friday spending, so I'm just going to highlight that here in that color to make sure that it doesn't get mixed in with all of the other week 1 spend. So now I am totaling up all of the spending for week 1 that went on to credit cards and my cash spending. This calculator here is Boeing Surplus that I found at a thrift store. It's a fantastic deal, and I like old tech like this. So it used to be that you could go to the Boeing Surplus store. They have one here in the greater Seattle area, but it closed during COVID, and I don't think it will come back. I think it's gone for good, which is too bad, because you used to be able to score some fantastic deals there. But that's the way the world evolves. So now that everything's color-coded and I have the total of what I spent on credit cards this week, I am going to go back to my monthly budget and I am going to plug in the number on my wallet spend for the first week. More than the $200, but again, that $29 software charge or even the $25 Starbucks charge that should have gone on a different card. That would have, either one of those not coming in would have put me right on budget. All right, so here we are with the Letterbucks challenge. This is my favorite, and it's one that I do every week. I save all of the $1 bills that I get as change, and then I stuff them into different mini savings challenges based on the letter that is printed on the bill. You can see there on the left-hand side of the bill, which is at the bottom because I've got them turned vertically, there's a letter. There was an L there on the bottom, an A at the top, and now I'm separating them into piles. So we've got an A, a B, a C. We had a whole bunch of D's this week. Each of those corresponds to a branch of the Federal Reserve System where those dollar bills were distributed. Not where they were printed, but where they were distributed. And each letter corresponds to a different bank branch within the Federal Reserve by city. So A is Boston, B is New York, C is Philadelphia, D is Cleveland, Ohio, and so on. So I'm adding this A-buck into my envelope for the A's. I have 2 $15 placeholders and 3 individual dollars. So I'm adding in another line here to the tracker. Each letter can be $1 if you want to do the whole tracker of 25. There's 25 on each. Or what I'm doing here with the A's, because for a while I was getting a lot of them, is I decided that each line would be $1, and each letter has 15 lines. So I've completed 2 letters, which is why there's two $15 placeholders, and I'm only filling in 1 line. Here with the B's, it's the same story. I've got one $15 placeholder, and then I should have 14 now individual B's. I'm counting them here just to make sure that they're all there. So a total of 29. And then I'm going to fill in 1 more line on the tracker for the B's. Each letter I'm saving for a different purpose. For the B's, I'm saving up for my birthday. My birthday is in January, so I probably won't do anything with that money this year, or this next year in 2025. But maybe for 2026, if I get enough of the B's, I'll do something special for myself. So putting the tracker back in, and then we'll move on to the C's. C's are for candy, and I buy candy sometimes when I go get my hair cut, which is kind of not an all day thing, but a half day thing for me, just because my barber is really far away. And there's a candy store near her shop that sells fantastic fudge and fantastic fruit candy and whatnot. So I usually will stop in there when I go and get my hair cut. I'm actually overdue, so I'm really hoping I can finish this challenge, these C-Bucks, by the time that I go for my next haircut, which will be in a couple of weeks. That's another thing that I didn't budget for in this cycle, so it's something that I'm going to have to either cash flow from my projected surplus or do without something else. We'll see how that shakes out. But I've filled in the C, and now I'm going to blow it off a little bit and then slide it back into the envelope. Now the D's, I'm actually going to, spoiler alert, finish this one. And looking at the tracker, I realized that I didn't fill in all the letters last week. And this tracker got to be kind of a mess. I use orange for C's and D's, and I don't know what it is about orange ink, but all of my alcohol-based markers, whether they are Sharpies or another brand, they all tend to smudge, or the ink doesn't stay down. It must be something in the pigment, which to me seems odd because orange is a composite color from red and yellow. So I don't know if it's that the combination of those two result in it not being a stable ink, or if it's something else, if they use something completely different for orange that makes it not stick well to the page. So it's going to take me a minute to fill in all of these letters. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I will be right back. Well, that was exhausting. And I am not the best person at coloring on a good day, and especially when I'm trying to rush, I tend to go out of the lines a lot. But I felt it was important to complete the tracker, to fill in everything, just because, saving these dollar bills is an achievement. It's not the same as paying off your house, or fully funding your emergency fund, or paying off a student loan or something like that. But I think it's important to celebrate the small milestones as well as the big ones. So now, since I finished that tracker, I'm taking out a new one. I haven't decided if I'm going to continue saving up D's for the purpose that I was this original set, which was for dog treats. I don't own a dog, but one of my coworkers brings her dog into the office sometimes, so I like to have treats in my desk drawer for her. But she's got 25, I've got 2 bags of them at the office already, and now $25 more to spend on her. So she's good for a while. I may do something else with the D's next time. So the last one for this binder is an F buck. F's I am saving up for festivities, and that could be anything. That could be, somebody needs a pick-me-up, or it's somebody else's birthday, like a coworker's birthday, and I just need to get them something small. Anything like that is what I'm using the F bucks for. They're fairly uncommon here. I can't remember where F is off the top of my head. I want to say Atlanta, so pretty far from where I live. And so I don't see a whole lot of them. There are other letters that are even less common, but I was lucky enough to get one this week, so I filled it in, and I am going to blow on this, shake it off a little bit, and then slide it back into the envelope. And then we'll move on to the other binder. So the green binder, which is the one that I saved the second half of the alphabet, well, the second half of the Letterbucks alphabet, there's only 12. And I mostly get K's and L's into this book. Um, the L's are from San Francisco, which is the closest Federal Reserve branch to me. And so those are the ones that I see most common. You can see from this tracker that I'm doing these as one line or $15 per letter. So I've already got 5 of them filled in. So that's 75 plus about another 10 here. So I should be up to about $85 in the L envelope. That's for a leather jacket. It's going to cost me a bundle. So I'm using the most common letter to save up for it. And sliding that back in and closing the binder, and that's Letterbucks for the week. So that's the end of the first week of December. Not too bad on the budget, a little bit over because of that software subscription, but I'll either cash flow that or potentially even take it out of the money that I set aside for Christmas. We'll have to see how the rest of the month shakes out. I want to thank you for spending some time with me today, and a special thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, leave a comment down below, and share with your friends. If you're interested in any of the Ready Budget Go products that I showed in today's video, a link to my Etsy shop is down in the description. Until I see you next time, take care.